Hey guys, I'm Sean Price.
I'm Tonray Franklin.
And I'm Grace Shockey.
And welcome to SuperStuff!
SuperStuff, yeah!
That is our second intro. We have several, but we're going to keep doing random crap about them. Hey guys, did you guys have fun at the Comic-Con today? I know I sure did.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So it was Grace's first big Comic-Con, and I think she had a great time, honestly.
It was incredible. It was massive.
Oh yeah, absolutely enormous. Pause so I can change the sound of the TV. We back. That's Anthony's voice, by the way, Grace.
Is it really?
Yeah, that that's Anthony.
Oh my god.
Listen. Are you guys ready? Yeah, you can hear it at the very end of it. Yeah, that's him. If you guys don't know yet, I'm sure if you've seen or heard anything before that we've talked about Anthony and Grace, they are dating. They are power couple numero uno.
Dos. I mean, there's you and Maddie.
Yeah, we're pretty great. But they're great, and I love them both equally, except Anthony a little more because I'm kind of biased. No offense.
Fair. I also love Anthony a little more.
Speaking of people I love, Tonray, did you have fun at the con today?
Yes, I had an amazing time.
I could tell you were exhausted. You've been sleeping for the past 2 hours.
We managed to lay how many Twizzlers on him?
13, and he claims that he was awake for the whole thing, but I don't believe him.
I wasn't awake for the whole thing, but I was aware.
Okay, well, I have a short video of it, and you can check that video out on one of our YouTube videos of our vlogs it's our super adventure in Chicago. It's our second ever super adventure. The first one was in Seneca Rocks, and the episodes are still kind of coming out because our editor is a piece of shit. Our editor is me. And those episodes are still coming out. However, you can check out our super adventure to Chicago and see the videos of all of the Twizzlers that we laid on Tonray 30 minutes ago. However, what was one of your favorite parts about the con today, man? Or should I say the Conray, Tonray? I shouldn't say that. That was terrible. That's not even an original joke. It was Maddie's.
It was still fantastic.
Fantastic. Great.
Honestly, I think probably one of my favorite things about today was watching Grace and seeing how in awe she was of everything.
Oh yeah, well because you and I have done a lot of big ones before.
Yeah, this was just fun for me because I just got to watch her go bananas, go nuts, go.
Even though people were freaking out about your costume.
Oh my gosh, it was hilarious.
It was cool. I liked the attention a little bit, but it wasn't about me today. It was about Grace and her having a good time, and don't get me wrong, it was fun to be there, but I just wanted her to be happy. I wanted her to fully enjoy the experience and whatnot. But
right.
It was beyond words. All I can think of is the word incredible. There's got to be more words in the dictionary. I just don't know them. Incredible,
amazing, fantastic, cool, African American. All of those words mean amazing. So, Tonray's smiling like he's got a smile from ear to ear right now.
He's playing with his Ninja
He's like,
Turtles.
He's like, man, I can't even get mad at you for
there
saying
are times that I just look at him and shake my head because there are no words to explain exactly what I'm thinking. Sometimes it's what the hell.
Well, it's because you're angry eyes at me, but happy smiles, so I can't really judge what you're thinking.
How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah. Yes. It's like the captain from How I Met Your Mother, exactly. He's angry eyesing me, but he's happy facing me.
How do you feel about the Jonas Brothers? He hates that he loves them.
He hates that he loves them.
But I also love that I hate them. Nobody really knows how I feel about them.
Dude, the new Jonas Brothers songs are good.
I really do like them.
Speaking of new songs, a song came out yesterday, Earth by Lil Dicky.
Amazing. Kind
of genius. Most of my adult friends don't like Lil Dicky. However...
Boo! You suck.
However, my Super Adventure Brothers love Lil Dicky, so...
It's just a very creative song.
It's
dude. In honor of the Earth, and it's
in honor of Earth Day today, 420.
Yeah, I was going to say, they got Leonardo DiCaprio.
To play himself. And Kevin Hart to play Kanye West.
Of all people. There was just a lot of good artists on there who delivered a message, and it was very important, and in all honesty, and I'm not very self-conscious about it, but we have to take care of the earth. It's where we live.
Oh my God, of course, man. Like, if we don't take care of the earth, who's gonna?
we screwed.
Yeah, we'll be in big trouble.
Yeah, straight up. I mean, maybe not like us specifically, but like later on down the road, it's really going to affect like our grandchildren and stuff, and that's just not really. I don't want to talk about work. We're talking about comics. Okay, so anyway, if you are a human, which you are, because I mean the only types of creatures that listen to my podcast are humans and ducks. For some reason, ducks love it. However, take care of the planet, recycle, and don't use fossil fuels. West Virginia.
Ducks love nothing.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Grace hates ducks.
They're vicious.
What do you got against ducks?
I'm not sure who hurt you, but I'm sorry.
A lot of ducks, that's who's hurt
Wait,
me.
I just want to hear. I'm going to aim the microphone a little more towards Grace right now, just so she can talk about how much she hates ducks. Let's go.
I don't hate them. I just straight up think that they are vicious creatures.
Okay.
They are very territorial, and they will like bite the crap out of your ankles.
like that joke. I tried to sneak it in there without you hearing it.
They're so mean.
I don't like that joke.
Not as mean as geese and swans, but they're in that same tier.
Okay.
The hell tier.
The fourth layer of hell has just
ducks.
geese, swans, and ducks.
They will bite at your ankles.
It's
and
canon.
It hurts a lot.
They bite at your ankles?
Yeah.
You ever had a duck bite your ankle?
Yes.
Oh.
So many times, Sean.
I used to have a pet duck. His name was,
Domesticated ducks aren't as bad because
What
they
did I name
don't
my
develop that kind of like territorial
Chuck?
thing.
No.
But
Yasmin? Something like that. What did I name my duck?
did you have a duck name?
Nobody cares. Let's talk about this comic.
Sorry. Welcome to the podcast where we get extremely off track all the time.
Derailed or duck railed. That was awful.
Speaking of duck, I want Chinese now.
Oh, yeah? Well, how about instead of getting Chinese, you eat the rest of this giant-ass Chicago-style pizza we got from Giordano's in Chicago. I'm only saying that we're not sponsored. I'm only saying the name because it's amazing.
Well, I
highly
think
recommend.
We should let people know because I literally posted a picture of it and I have well over, let's see. I'm currently up to 106 likes on Facebook.
106?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, what up?
Everybody's like, where'd you get this? But,
it's genius. Like it's an amazing culinary innovation. It's almost like lasagna, but not quite, and a little bit more than pizza. Like we got it on Friday, and I'm still munching on
We're
it
still munching on it
because I can't finish a piece.
It's one piece is enough to fill you up.
Oh hell yeah! I had a piece for dinner today, and you know what? All I've had to eat today?
Pizza.
French toast and pizza. I had French toast for breakfast. I had pizza for dinner. That's it. And then for lunch, I had a slice of pizza. All right, so for this podcast, we're going to jump into our top 5 a little early on because we have 2 separate top 5s. What? I know, we said that we were going to do that last time, but instead, we're going to do it this time because, I mean, if you read the description on the last episode, you know that Tonry got a little too emotional to finish the podcast.
It's just turtles, guys.
It's when we talk about Ninja Turtles, man. He gets back in his
You
childhood.
show emotions one time and all of a sudden you're a crybaby.
No, man, you're not a crybaby. It's okay to show your emotions, you know? It's like me when I talk about Nintendo, except way, way, way worse.
Or me.
Andy has an erection.
Tonry, listen, I always have an erection.
That concerns me.
My life is like a Viagra pill, always. I don't want to sing that song. Anyway, so we're going to jump into our first top 5. Our first one was going to be our second one from the last podcast. However, it's going to be our first one for this one. 3 cheers all around. Cheers! Well, you're supposed to say cheers. 3 cheers. There's 3 people. I'll start. 3 cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
One at a time. I'll go, then Grace goes, then Tonry.
All right, let's do it again.
1, 2, 3.
Cheers!
Cheers!
Cheers.
Good enough. Okay, so we're going to start with the top 5 characters that have influenced your life more than any other character.
Oh, I forgot about that, yeah.
Now, we're not going to get too deep into our lists.
You're telling me that I can't get super deep into the 5 X-Men characters that I picked, John?
We're not going to get too deep into these because if we do, then we're going to get really deep into Tonri's number 1 again, and we're going to have to cut the podcast short once
Oh my
again.
god, this horse crap!
Listen, if you want crumbled up paper, let me know. That way I can add a sound effect in instead of just crumbling paper in the front of my microphone.
It sounds good.
These are authentic sound effects.
We don't need your technological Baba Booey, okay?
God, young people, am I right?
I know, right?
Tonri!
But in that same
say
breath,
the word Baba Booey
yeah, it's the
before.
Baba Booey. I don't know.
And I want way, way more of it.
But as soon as I say that, though, I think to where we're on the 8th floor of our hotel, and we got tired of waiting on the elevator, so we thought, you know what, let's just run up the steps. Big mistake. I'm pretty sure I'm still recovering from yesterday because I about died.
For me, please.
I said Baba Booey.
Yes. I'm sorry. I don't know why I got the gigs from
That's
that.
that's not the word I even meant to use.
I know you meant to say something. I don't know. Okay, we'll start with Grace first. That way, at the end, I can tell you guys something about Grace. Go ahead.
Do we want to do like one of each in a circle, maybe?
Ooh, we've never done that before.
Like Russian roulette.
Sure, yeah, we'll start with our number 5s each. Okay, Grace, you go first.
My number 5 is Emma Frost for
Ooh.
telling off Tony Stark and Miss Marvel as an iconic moment in my life, and I just really, really love Emma Frost now.
Don't you have a thing for when the X-Men tell the Avengers off?
Yes, I do. That's my kink.
Don't kink shame everyone. It's kind of a dope kink. Like, I think one of my favorite things is in, I can't remember if it's the Infinity War or Infinity Gauntlet. It's some comic where Wolverine is calling out Captain America, and Captain America's like, "Go ahead."
It's on my list.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll let you talk about it. Okay, Tonri, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is...
Can I guess?
What?
I haven't looked at your list. I promise. Power Rangers.
No.
Okay. Well, then go.
Thundercats.
Thundercats.
Because unlike you two youngins, I'm a child of the 80s.
I watched Thundercats when I grew up.
Have you really
can't
grown
say
up
I
yet,
ever
though?
did.
No.
Okay.
Have any
Anyway.
of us?
Have you? You fucking fossil.
And there you have it. He finally said it. He's been hinting at it all weekend that I'm old. And then he finally said it. And you wonder why I'm emotional? It's because of shit like that. Anyway.
Emotional abuse.
It's horrible. This is why I go to therapy.
I'm your therapist, Tonri.
I call shenanigans.
I call Baba Booey.
Baba Booey. You say it one fucking time, and it's your thing now.
I'm gonna record you saying Baba Booey as a sound effect for my podcast. Every time someone says something that's illegitimate, it's gonna be you going Baba Booey. Okay.
But anyway, Thundercats. I grew up on Thundercats. It's cool. What's not cool about giant cats who talk and are just badass warriors?
Didn't one of your really close friends buy you the Thundercat sword last year? Isn't he really handsome and really sweet?
It doesn't
I
ring.
hear he's a huge dick.
No. He eats those.
I'm at a loss for words right now. But no,
I got a Thundercat sword. It was me.
Before he starts tooting his own horn, I don't know if you guys can hear that toot in the background, but that's probably him. Anyway, yes, somebody got me a
here it comes.
Thundercat sword.
The sound of a trumpet. Sorry, it was a clarinet.
But he got me a Thundercat sword. We were in Toledo. It's pretty dope. And
Did I get you that in Toledo?
Yes.
Or did I get you that in Cleveland?
It's Toledo.
Okay.
And lights up on the handle. The emblem lights up. It's pretty dope. But anyway,
I got a discount because they thought the light up was broken. And then when I got it back to our booth, I fixed it.
Go ahead. What's your number 5?
Me? My number 5 is... Well, I have honorable mentions. Power Rangers and Batman. Just because, yeah. My number 5 is Spider-Man. More so lately than ever, Spider-Man has really touched my life. I've always been a big Ben Reilly fan. I was a big Peter Parker fan for a while, and I'm a really big fan of Spider-Man. I always have, because there's so many different Spider-Man out there, and there's so many different iterations of the one character. And if you come to think about it, Spider-Man's really what launched Marvel Comics today. And Stan Lee has said that Spider-Man is his greatest creation because without Spider-Man, he wouldn't have been able to get the job to create all of these beloved characters that we've come to know and love. And he's such a relatable superhero for like young kids. You know, he wasn't just like a random scientist guy that got superpowers. He was just a high schooler that got superpowers. And everyone knows the phrase, with great power comes great responsibility, right?
That's
Spider-Man. Okay, Grace, what's your number 4?
Oddly enough, 4, because I didn't really have them like ranked as Jean Grey.
Really?
Well, I didn't really have them ranked. I just had bullet points.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say Jean Grey's obviously your number 1.
Jean Grey would obviously be number 1 if I was going in like an order.
Oh, you just have them like randomly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then okay. Ours are like in order.
Mostly because growing up I fell in love with her, but most recently X-Men Red and her work as the UN ambassador for the Mutant Nation was just super incredible.
Hell of a lot better of a UN ambassador than Charles Xavier ever was. Am I right, kids?
Truth.
So, little disclaimer here. In the last episode, you heard about my love for the Ninja Turtles. Well, as passionate as I am about Ninja Turtles, that's how passionate she is about Jean Grey.
And how passionate I am about Mario.
And Cyclops.
Of course.
Okay, Tonray, you're number 4.
My number 4 is...
I accidentally glanced at it. Can I, like, sing you into it?
Sure.
No.
Batman. First off, you did it wrong. What is wrong with you? You're probably one of those people who are part of the group that says you don't... All right, you guys remember that big poll that came out probably about a month ago, maybe a little longer ago, about how many na-na-na-na-nas that you say... Or no, that's chugga-chugga-chuggas before the choo-choo, because it's chugga-chugga-chugga-chugga-chugga-chugga-chugga-chugga toot-toot. It's 8 chuggas. The same thing with the nanas.
Batman.
8 nanas.
Tonray, I cosplay Adam West Batman. I'm just trying to shorten it down for the sake of the podcast.
Chugga chugga choo choo.
No.
Tonray, I'm just shortening it down for the sake of the podcast. I know how many nanas there are. I'm not an idiot.
You put licorice on my body.
Listen,
I beg to differ.
leave what we do in the bedroom out of this discussion. I want to argue right now.
We're not going to argue because you're wrong.
Beyonce's better than Batman.
Okay.
Shots fired.
Okay.
Pew pew.
First of all, both of you put polls on Facebook. Both of you asked the same question, and both of you got the exact same answer. Batman. And the question isn't who's better. It was who's more famous. Batman is more famous. I would do a poll to our audience. However, our audience is nerds. And a lot of nerds don't really like Beyonce. They listen to bands like what nerds listen to is Starbomb and like nerdy stuff, and what nerds should listen to is Xavier's Podcast for Gifted Listeners by Grace Shockey, a SuperStuff podcast that has just come out. It's going to be brief segments, 5 minutes or less, and we're going to have everything that you could possibly think and talk about with upcoming and new X-Men topics.
Interesting. Brief segments of 5 minutes. Sounds like Sean's sex life.
Oh!
Got him!
Anyway, you can check those podcasts out on Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, and the Spreaker website anytime you are feeling about listening to something that's real short and real cool.
Yeah.
That's all. Kind of ended a little odd, but
Okay.
there's our ad read for something that I pay for.
So Batman's number 4 on my list because growing up, when I was in well, not foster care. When I was first adopted, I went to my babysitter's house, and all the time I watched Batman. Like literally, the first time I watched it, I was hooked. So I had to let my babysitter watch her soap operas and The Price is Right. And when that was done, I popped in the Batman VHS tape. And what's not to love about that movie? It's got Michael Keaton, Jack Nicklaus, hands down
Jack
to
Nicklaus?
me. Jack Nicklaus. That's a golfer. Oh, shit. Jack Nicholson.
Yes. See, I knew you weren't going crazy. I just knew you accidentally mispronounced it.
I don't know what I was thinking. But Jack Nicholson to me, is the best Joker, but it's followed close by Heath Ledger, R.I.P. But
I don't like to talk about the Joker a whole lot because that's a huge debate that people get into.
It's not a debate. I think because of the nature of how Jack was, I think that's why I loved him. He was dark, but yet he was still funny.
I think every person that's played the Joker has played it as well as they were supposed to play that Joker.
I beg to differ.
There's just so many
Have
iterations.
You seen Jared Leto?
Yeah,
he deserves a swift punch in the nads.
Well, listen, I think he received a script that was not a very good script. I'm not a big fan of his acting. However, they wanted the Mr. J type Joker in the movie, and I think he tried to do his very best of bringing that character to the movie. However, that's not the character we needed.
Here's my thoughts on that. If they had taken him out of the movie, it wouldn't have mattered.
True.
I agree, because that movie was just
a mess.
The movie was
it started the fall of the DCEU, and I feel like Aquaman and Shazam are like bringing it back up. Wonder Woman was great, but then Justice League was okay, and then now Aquaman and Shazam are kind of just amazing. Speaking of Shazam, let's take a quick break from our top 5 to talk about that. What did you think, Tonray?
Okay. I think DC is finally pulling their head out of their ass, and they're getting the movies right. I think Shazam, on a scale of 1 to 10, is a 9.5 to me because...
Oh, it was amazing.
It was amazing from start to finish. A lot of the DC movies that they've done, they have moments in it where you're just like, well, if I go to the bathroom or something happens and I miss this, I didn't miss much. Shazam had me on the edge of my seat from beginning to end, and I just thought it was wonderfully done.
See, I gotta tell you, I didn't think it was gonna be better than Aquaman because Aquaman made me just thrilled. But it was better than Aquaman. It was by far the best DC movie to date.
It's the best one that they've came out with.
Oh, for sure.
And
Aquaman's second to me, Wonder Woman's third, but Shazam was by far the best one.
But I also think that Shazam will probably be the only DC movie that they do that will not be have a dark undertone.
Yeah, I feel that.
Because I think the direction they want to go will be the darker stuff. Mm-hmm. Because Marvel's kind of kicking it in the ass, knocking it out of the park with how they're doing their movies.
Yeah, I think the DC EU kind of wants to do a completely different thing.
But I'll say Aquaman kind of too, because Jason Momoa is an Aquaman that your everyday person can relate to. He's one of those people that if you're like, you know what, Mom, I'll be home later tonight. I'm going to go have a beer with Aquaman. She'd be like, oh, okay. Because he's the kind of guy you could probably sit down and have a beer with. Literally, there's a scene in the movie where he's having a beer with his dad, and the guy comes up and asks for selfies, and then they start drinking together. Like, that's the kind of superhero I wouldn't mind having. It's not like Bruce Wayne's going to be like, Alfred, I'm going to Gotham. I need to get a drink. I mean...
And then his buddy Chad's like, hey, I'll come with you, bro. Have you seen Shazam yet, Grace?
No.
Oh, dude, you got to watch it. It's great.
I'm behind on a lot of movies. Our theater is expensive.
It is, but it's a great theater.
Yeah.
That's true.
You need to join the Regal Club.
That would probably help.
Yeah. But, however, let's jump back into these lists. I'm going to go with my number 4 now. Deadpool. The Merc with a Mouth, because I am somewhat of a mouthy mother person. A mouthy mother person. And I play Deadpool in a Discord RPG. I cosplay Deadpool. I read Deadpool comics. I collect Deadpool comics, but not for myself, for my friend Philip, because he's like a hardcore Deadpool collector, and I just kind of see the stuff and get it for him, because I think I'm a good friend. But Grace, number 3.
My number 3 is actually, like I was saying earlier, Wolverine, for when he told off Captain America, because...
What did he say?
Oh boy, let me pull it up.
Okay, we're going to pause. We back.
So, it was also during Infinity Wars, and he says, what you don't understand, Captain, is that we mutants are at war. Always have been, always will be. You, with your high-flaunting ideals, you're the champion of the American dream, fighting for liberty and justice, but only for your own kind, for humans, for regular Americans, but you just stand by while mutants are being persecuted, don't you? when have you ever fought for our rights? And
Dang, Wolverine.
I just live for
You that boy.
the X-Men calling out Captain America.
Yeah. See, movie Captain America is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Good guy. Wholehearted guy. Comic book Captain America, meh.
Straight up dick.
Okay, Tanner, what's your number 3?
My number 3 is probably one of the most awesome guys, and I just absolutely love him.
Me?
No. Anyway, it is the king himself, King T'Challa, a.k.a. the Black Panther.
T'Challa from Wakanda.
I am from Wakanda. But anyway.
Wakanda forever. That was a little echo.
The Black Panther is just an all-around badass.
Oh, yeah. Hands down.
And if you haven't seen the movie, clearly you've missed out. And what people... and I have one gripe about this real quick.
Let's hear it.
All these people are complaining about Black Panther, saying, "Oh, it's about black people's rights and all that." It's not about black people's rights. I mean, kind of, but that's like a very... It's
kind of an undertone.
It's at most, it's an undertone.
No, yeah.
The big thing that people are missing about that in the movie, it's about women, empowering women. When the most powerful warriors are the women.
Oh, yeah.
When your bodyguard is a gang of badass women, I mean, my God. I mean, you see all these other cats in the superhero game, but then you see him with his royal guard, who are a bunch of just awesome kick-ass women. I loved it.
I think one thing that's overlooked in the Black Panther movie is the fact that it revolves around a perfect society that was founded on an amazing technology that was perfectly utilized. And and it doesn't matter that this society happens to be predominantly a black society. It just happens to be that way because that's the area that it is. Because it is a revolutionized modern society that has perfected their technology to the best of their ability. It just so happens that they are predominantly black. It doesn't matter.
But you can't also ignore the fact that it's definitely political.
Oh yeah.
Oh, most definitely. I agree.
Because, I mean, the Black Panthers were, a actual group in
an organization in the 70s, yeah.
That,
fought for equalities and all that stuff.
Yeah. So
it's a great. The movie's great. The one thing that I'm kind of hoping for, and this is not a spoiler alert or anything, but like in the comics, T'Challa is married to Storm.
Yeah.
And in the movie, he's not. But I would hope, and just as a plot thing, I think one thing that would be kind of cool to tie the universes together, like he kind of breaks up with the girl that he's with. And then at the end, he meets this, somebody's like, well, I'd like to introduce you to Miss Aurora Monroe. And he's like, oh, I like this one.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean...
I like this one. And then Brie Larson smiles.
Badass.
Yeah. But I think the best part about Black Panther is he's just awesome. And they have vibranium, which is a technology that's far more advanced than anybody else in the world, pretty much.
Wolverine skeleton.
For the most part. Vibranium's stronger than adamantium, isn't it?
I think it is. I don't know. I just wanted to be a bitch.
But I mean, on a minor note, the movie I thoroughly loved because, and this is a very funny part about it, I loved it because the bad guy actually had a point.
I mean,
also true.
That happens in a lot of the Marvel movies too. I mean, Thanos even had kind of some good ideals.
Yeah, but did he though?
Yeah, moving on. My number 3, Jules from Pulp Fiction.
Oh yeah, because this was just all.
This is all fiction,
fictional.
man. This wasn't necessarily superheroes, video game characters, or anything. It was just fiction characters, and Jules from Pulp Fiction is kind of one of my idols, man. Because that's when I first started getting into Samuel L. Jackson. When I first saw that movie, he's my favorite actor. I have the wallet. I have the actual wallet. I'm just a huge Samuel L. Jackson fan, and I'm a huge Jules fan because I think that movie, that man has more iconic quotes than any other person in any other movie, I think. In that movie, he's got a plethora of monologues that you could just run through and listen to and just be like, oh my God, this is awesome. He was the first ever baller that I looked up to, Like he was a straight up guy, But Grace, your number 2?
Number 2 is Cyclops.
Cool.
Obviously. Cyclops.
That would probably be your number 2 on your list, even if it was ranked too.
Yeah, that's true. Cyclops was right. The only thing Cyclops was ever wrong about was when he came back from the dead and said I was wrong because he was wrong because he was right.
Fair enough. We'll leave it at that. Tonry, what was your number 2?
Don't get me wrong. I love the Power Rangers, but they as a whole did not make my list. The Black Ranger, Zach, was my number 2.
Okay, I got you. You met him, right?
Yeah.
And you have the Black Ranger helmet.
And I have the Black Ranger helmet. I have an autograph. Personalized autograph, the whole 9. Growing up in West Virginia, I was the only black kid in school from kindergarten until I graduated.
Same dude.
And, shut up. But naturally, when you're growing up you're outside playing with your friends, you're like, hey, let's play such and such. And you're like, I get to be this guy. Well, by default,
you were always the Black Ranger?
I was always the Black Ranger. I could never be the red, blue.
Come on,
even though
man.
blue is my favorite color, I was the Black Ranger. But then I was also really cool. I loved it because Zach was not... It's not like Zach was a weak character. I mean, I had an axe for a weapon, and I could do hip-hop keto and all that cool shit. But, I mean, it did kind of suck to always be the stereotype. But
we're going to pause real quick so Tonry can teach us some hip-hop keto. We're back. It was great. We haven't moved.
It was a mess. Anyway, no, the Black Ranger has always been my favorite. He was just awesome to me growing up. Like, and when he actually came out, when the Power Rangers actually came out, I was like 7 or 8 maybe, and it was just awesome. Like, everybody always wanted to be the Power Rangers, and it's funny because I have a lot of Power Ranger memorabilia. Like, I have a full, legit Black Ranger helmet. I've got the autograph stuff. I've got the Power Morpher.
Like all of them.
Yeah. I've got a lot of cool stuff. I've got the original show, all the way through the Green Ranger stuff, on DVD.
I have the Green Ranger DVD autographed, actually.
So
I have the one where they're underwater.
Okay.
And it's on VHS.
Nice.
That's as far as I know.
Oh, and fun fact, I also have 2 sets of Power coins. One of the original Mighty Morphin Power Ranger coins, and I have them signed. 2 of them are signed by the Red and the Black Rangers. I'm actually sending them to Tampa to get the Pink Ranger. Amy Jo Johnson will be in Tampa. One of my good friends, Nick, he lives down there. He's going to get it signed for me. And then I have Jason David Frank's autograph on something completely different, separate from that. But yeah, the Black Ranger has been a big influential part of my life.
Hell yeah, man. My number 2 is Mario. Because it's a him, Mario. Nah, Mario, I've been a retro Nintendo collector for years. I've been a huge Nintendo fan for years. My first ever console was the Super Nintendo. And Mario is kind of the godfather of all that. He sparked it. He didn't start it, but he sparked it. And he just, I just kind of look up to that plumber, All right, Grace, let's hear your number 1.
Magneto. I mean...
Swagnito.
No.
I'm going to draw a picture of Swagnito.
I support that decision.
I'm doing it right now.
His, activism for mutant rights. He's a Holocaust survivor. Like, there's a lot going on in Magneto's life other than, just a villain, because he's not really a villain. I mean, he is, but I digress.
Okay, Tonry. What's your number 1? And I just want you to say the name of them, and then we're going to move on. That's it. Ready? Tonry's number 1 is...
Sean Price.
Dude.
But we're moving on. Anyway, okay, Sean. I'm just kidding. Anyway, my number 1 most influential characters that have been a part of my life, if you didn't pick it up from the last episode, are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Moving on. Okay, so... my number 1 is Link from Legend of Zelda. And funny story...
No, you don't get a story, because we had to move on. And we're moving on.
Okay. Jean. Grace. Sorry. I've done that 12 times on this trip.
Hey,
Called her Jean.
I'm totally fine with that, Sean.
Let's hear it. What's your number 1?
My number 1 was Magneto.
Oh, I have a horrible memory.
Apparently.
Okay, well, hey, we have 10 minutes left on the show, and I decided that with this 10 minutes, we're going to do our second top 5, which is going to be our top 5 best cosplays that we saw today, and we are going to have very short time to talk about the cosplays individually, and we're going to love it. Okay, Grace, your top 5 go.
The Logan cosplayer we met.
Oh, he was
cool.
he was dope.
And I ended up.
He was cute.
I said he was dope.
I thought you said he was cute.
It
He
sounded
was
like you said
cute, but he was also dope.
Now we're friends on Instagram.
Oh, cool.
Storm.
Oh, hey,
Classic Storm.
Hey! I said you're number 5.
Oh, whoops.
Tonray.
That reminds me, I need to add him on Instagram. I have an honorable mention, first of all.
Let's hear it.
The sexy Aqua Woman.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
on my list, dude.
She was on my list tied with.
I wanted to give her an entirely, I wanted to give her the number 1 spot, but when I actually really thought about it, she didn't even make my top 5. I just thought she was really freaking hot.
Well, she was very beautiful. However,
hot. Her
she
costume
made
was
my
dope,
list
too.
because I talked to her and she handmade her trident.
She handmade the entire thing. She said it was
know.
made from a 3D printer.
Grace's face right now says it all. She made her whole costume that was dragon scale.
I saw that
However,
part.
she handmade her trident. She typed in the 3D printing code and 3D printed that trident on a giant industrial 3D printer.
Yeah. She did it in the Dragon
That's
Scale
why
too.
she's on my list, because
Holy
of the
mother
work
of
she
God.
put into that simple cosplay,
I didn't know.
and because she was a beautiful woman.
Okay. Anyway,
And the fact that when I asked her what she was cosplayed as, she didn't say Aqua Woman. She said, "I'm Aquaman." I said, "Hell yeah, you are." Anyway, Grace,
no,
okay.
my actual number 5 was the Blade and Batman that we met. Because
Oh,
they
the
were
Ben Affleck Batman? Batfleck, yeah.
They were really cool. They were like the Blade cosplay was dope. It was just really nice. And then he was with Batman, and it had the Affleck Batman costume, and it was actually pretty badass. Like it looked legit. Like I would probably rock that. I thought it was pretty cool. But the Blade one, because I'm a huge Wesley Snipes fan. I love Blade. Actually, I actually own all 3 Blade movies. I just thought it was really dope. So, what about you?
Swagnito.
Oh my goodness.
I drew a picture of Swagnito. He's genius.
His helmet's a snapback.
Yeah, his helmet's a snapback, and Professor Xavier can't read his mind. Anyway, number 5 is the Green Ranger we saw. His costume was dope. Even though he bought the whole thing, it was still dope. Grace, number 4.
Well, since I accidentally went from the top to the bottom, my number 2, since number 1 was Logan, my number 2 was Storm.
Oh, okay.
The 90s Storm.
God, you just don't know how to do a top 5
I
list, do
apparently
you?
don't.
Awesome. Anyway,
Well,
Tonray's number 4?
My number 4 was the Green Ranger, because I thought that was just...
He was great.
Awesome. Like, and I hate to say it, there wasn't as many great cosplays today that I thought I would
We
see.
probably have a lot of similarities on our lists. Don't look at my list, Grace. God, you freaking cheater. Anyway, my number 4 is Powder Toast Man. He was dope. Very, very good hat. He was an awesome
was
powder.
so creepy.
You can check out all of these cosplays, by the way, in one of our vlogs. We're going to do a big montage of it where we play Murder Train from How I Met Your Mother because I'm buying the rights to it, and we're going to play that song while we do all of our montages from now until the end of eternity. Anyway, Grace, what was your number 3?
Okay, so my number 3 was actually the 1700s
Captain America. Yeah, she was dope.
She had this massive 17th century dress on that she handmade everything from the hoops to the corset. So much
From
time
the
had to...
hoops. Oh, no. From the corset to the hoops. To the hoops.
But I can only imagine the amount of time and effort she put into
She
that.
said it took her like 4 weeks straight. Like she worked on that every day. Okay, Tonray, you're number 3.
My number 3 was the Raven.
Oh, the Feather Raven?
The Feather Raven.
She was
First
dope.
of all, she was gorgeous.
Oh,
Second
no,
of all,
she was awesome, yeah.
The costume was straight awesome.
And it was the first costume she had ever made.
It was the first one she'd
that's
ever done.
right.
It was just straight amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And
If any of you guys are listening and you hear that we're talking about your costume, please leave a comment on the video that you were in, and please tell us that was you. That way we can shout you out. because we'll try our best to do that if we figure out what you are. We just forgot to ask all of your names. My number 3, however, is Aquaman, the female Aquaman. Grace, number 2?
Which is actually my number 4 because I'm really bad at numbers apparently.
Mm-hmm.
The X family.
Yes, there was an entire family dressed up like the X-Men.
Yeah, the mother was Storm. She had like 3 kids. One was Nightcrawler. One was Cyclops. One was
Jean Grey her daughter?
I don't know if that was her daughter or not because she was older. So I don't know if she
Could
was.
have been like a teenage daughter because
That's
she
true.
definitely
She could've
wasn't
been.
like an older adult. She was like a young adult
so I
at
imagine
least.
she was. But yeah, she did Dark Phoenix, and with the little girl, there's another little girl, and she did Emma Frost.
Yeah.
She had a little tutu. It was adorable.
Okay, Tonray, number 2?
My number 2 was Powdered Toast Man, but that's also because I grew up watching Ren and Stimpy, so obviously as soon as I saw him, I was like, "Oh, that's awesome!"
Dude, like Ren and Stimpy was like my thing. Stimpy's my man.
But no, that cosplay was just straight up dope. And it turns out he's actually he and I have a mutual friend, and she tagged him and was like, "Is that him?" And I was like, "I don't know." And then I saw him with his head off,
And it's definitely him.
and it's definitely him. So I talked to him for a little bit, and I'm gonna friend him on Facebook and maybe try to branch out. And by the way, for those of you listening, I have a Facebook group that if you'd like to be a part of, just send me a message.
I've never shouted this out.
It's called Nerds of the Galaxy. Basically,
Shoot Tonray Franklin a message on Facebook.
We talk about movies, video games,
And no spoilers. It's a spoiler-free
page,
It's a
and
spoiler-free
you can
page.
post memes, whatever you want. Like right now, what's hot right now is Game of Thrones memes. All the brand memes, they're funny and they're hilarious. But
I'm still
we talk
posting
about
Hodor
everything.
memes because I stopped at season 7.
So, yeah, that's it. Nerds of the Galaxy. Come check it out.
Okay, my number 2 was Storm, the classic Storm. Grace, number 1.
My number 5, because I'm once again really bad at math, was actually the Aquaman that the selfie stick was in his.
Yeah, this guy was
trident.
Jason Momoa Aquaman, and his selfie stick was his trident.
It was
really cool.
really innovative.
Oh yeah, for sure. Tonray, number 1.
My number 1 was the 17th century Captain America. Because I just thought it was probably one of the more creative things I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, for sure. She got 3rd place in the costume contest.
Well, and like I didn't realize what it was at first, but the more I stared at her, I was like, wait a minute. Star, red, white, and blue.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap, this is Captain America. She's like, yeah. And I just thought it was very well thought. And,
Oh yeah, for sure.
and it was amazing. And I forgot to give credit to the Storm because she was cute, the costume was amazing, and it was just awesome in general. So
Yeah. My number 1 was anyone and everyone that dressed up as Spider-Man at this convention, because I took so many pictures with so many Spider-Men, and I was thrilled because I went as Peter B. Parker, and I saw Miles Morales' Spider-Man Noirs and all kinds of different Spider-Man, and it just warmed my heart because that is a character that everyone could dress up as and everyone could have a good time as. So that's it for our podcast today. Thank you for listening. If you are new to the show, we release episodes every Sunday. And if you are interested in listening to our shorter podcast that features Grace Shockey, it's called Xavier's Podcast for Gifted Listeners, I believe. Yeah, that's the name of it. Episodes that will come out every Wednesday. They're 5 minutes. We might do twice a week because they're shorter. It just really depends on how frequent we record them. However, new episodes of the SuperStuff show come out every Sunday. You can listen on Spotify, Spreaker, YouTube, SoundCloud, and soon we're going to be uploading them to the Nerds of the Galaxy page on Facebook. So if you want to join that, please shoot Tonry Franklin a message on Facebook. He is one of the Super Adventure Brothers, and he is the admin for that page. As always, thank you for listening to the SuperStuff Show. I'm Sean Price.
I'm Tonray Franklin.
And I'm Grace Shockey.
And thank you for listening to SuperStuff.